Did you know that Southeast Asia plays a crucial role in feeding the world with seafood? More than a fifth of global fisheries production is produced in this region, with Indonesia, Vietnam, Myanmar, the Philippines, and Thailand ranking among the top producers of fish and fishery products worldwide. But this was not always the case. Back in the 1960s, the region's fisheries sector faced serious challenges. Among them was a growing human population and a rising demand for seafood. To address such challenges, SEAFDEC, or the Southeast Asian Fisheries Development Center, was established in 1967 as an intergovernmental treaty organization. SEAFDEC was charged to develop fisheries potentials as means of improving the food situation in Southeast Asia. While SEAFDEC comprised 6 member countries upon its establishment, after more than 50 years, the members of SEAFDEC have grown to 11 countries, namely Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, Indonesia, Japan, Laos PDR, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. The center operates through the Secretariat located in Thailand and has 5 technical departments, namely Training Department or TD in Thailand, Marine Fisheries Research Department or MFRD in Singapore, Aquaculture Department or AQD in the Philippines, Marine Fishery Resources Development and Management Department or MFRDMD in Malaysia, and the Inland Fishery Resources Development and Management Department or IFRDMD in Indonesia. In 2017, the SEAFDEC Council adopted the Resolution on the Future of SEAFDEC, Vision, Mission, and Strategies towards 2030, which now define the programs of activities being implemented by the Center. Moreover, SEAFDEC programs of activities are consistent with the priority issues stipulated in the Resolution and Plan of Action on Sustainable Fisheries for Food Security for the ASEAN region towards 2030, which was adopted by the ASEAN SEAFDEC member countries in 2020. Throughout its journey of more than 50 years, SEAFDEC has been conducting activities under projects supported by various donors to ensure the sustainable development of fisheries and aquaculture in the region and address the prevailing and emerging issues. Granted by the government of Japan, the research and training vessels, namely MV SEAFDEC and the MV SEAFDEC 2, are equipped with modern tools such as the scientific echo sounder SIMRAD EK80. These research vessels are used to survey fishery resources in the waters of member countries upon their request. SEAFDEC also conducts stock assessments of economically important fish species, including neritic tuna, tuna-like species, and small pelagic fishes to come up with management recommendations for their sustainable use. SEAFDEC has also been developing and promoting responsible fishing technologies and practices, including fishing gear innovation, to reduce the impacts of fishing activities on fishery resources and marine ecosystems, energy optimization for fishing vessels to reduce carbon emissions, and optimal post-harvest fish handling techniques to improve fish quality and freshness on board fishing vessels. SEAFDEC has also been promoting several resource conservation and enhancement approaches, including the use of fish-enhancing devices, establishment of conservation areas, including fisheries refugia, and development of management measures in consultation with stakeholders. Moreover, SEAFDEC collects data on the impacts of fishing on the environment, such as the abandoned, lost, or otherwise discarded fishing gear or ALDFG, and promotes fishing gear marking to alleviate the occurrence of ALDFG. The contribution of fishing gear to marine debris and microplastics is also being investigated to explore appropriate mitigation measures. Illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, or IUU fishing, is a pressing concern that undermines actions to ensure sustainable fisheries. In supporting the member countries to combat IUU fishing, SEAFDEC developed and promoted regional tools such as the Regional Fishing Vessels Record or RFVR database and the Electronic ASEAN Catch Documentation Scheme or EACDS. SEAFDEC has also been organizing a series of trainings and workshops to strengthen national capacities in the implementation of port-state measures and monitoring, control, and surveillance or MCS, among others, to combat IUU fishing. Recognizing the importance of small-scale fisheries in the Southeast Asian region, SEAFDEC has been promoting applicable management approaches, including the Ecosystem Approach to Fisheries Management, or EAFM. A series of training for trainers is being conducted to build the capacity of national agencies to improve small-scale fisheries management, including poverty alleviation and improving the livelihood of the fishery community. For the sustainable development and management of inland fisheries, SEAFDEC introduced management concepts such as the Special Area for Conservation and Fish Refugia, or SPECTRA, by using swamps, flooded plains, and other marginal lands to serve as inland fisheries refugia and enhance the abundance of the resources. SEAFDEC is also developing methodologies for data collection in inland fisheries and gathering recommendations for inland fisheries management in Southeast Asian countries. Considering that cross-river constructions are among the major threats to inland fishery resources, SEAFDEC is also studying the effective designs of fish passages that would facilitate fish migration and mitigate the impacts of cross-river constructions on the resources. With the increasing contribution of aquaculture to the world's seafood supply, SEAFDEC has been actively engaged in developing all stages of aquaculture production, from the hatchery phase to grow out and post-harvest. SEAFDEC's initiatives include broodstock and seed production, environment-friendly farming systems, cost-effective feed, aquatic animal health management, and protocols on the use of drugs and chemicals for food safety. The aquaculture commodities that SEAFDEC focuses on include fishes, shrimps, crabs, mollusks, and seaweeds, as well as aquaculture live feeds such as phytoplankton, zooplankton, and polychaetes. New aquaculture techniques are also being developed for potential aquatic species, such as slipper lobster, mackerel tuna, and shortfin scad. The outcomes of scientific research are verified, commercialized, and the technologies transferred to government workers and aquaculture operators through extension and training activities. SEAFDEC also promotes community-based aquaculture to enhance the contribution of aquaculture to livelihood and food security in remote rural areas of Southeast Asia. To ensure that fish and fishery products from capture fisheries and aquaculture are fully utilized while maintaining quality and safety, SEAFDEC has been promoting good practices in seafood preservation technologies and quality assurance systems. Several activities have been undertaken, such as on monitoring of chemicals, drugs, and biotoxins, cold chain management, fish processing technologies, and good manufacturing and hygiene practices for fish and fishery products. One ongoing effort of SEAFDEC is the development of common or coordinated positions among the ASEAN SEAFDEC member countries toward the proposals on the listing of commercially exploited aquatic species into the CITES appendices. The data and information on relevant species, such as sharks and rays and anguillid eels, collected through SEAFDEC programs and projects, are used to support the discussions. Moreover, cross-cutting issues such as gender in fisheries are considered and embedded in the planning and implementation of SEAFDEC activities, as well as in the operation of the organization. Through over 50 years of research, development, transfer of technologies, and capacity building for its member countries, and in close cooperation with collaborating partners, SEAFDEC has addressed challenges, promoted responsible practices, and contributed to strengthening food security. Looking ahead, SEAFDEC remains steadfast in its commitment to achieving sustainable management and development of fisheries and aquaculture to contribute to food security, poverty alleviation, and livelihood of people in the Southeast Asian region.